It's day one of a double-header weekend of action here at Pembrey in South Wales. The circuit used clockwise on one day, anti-clockwise on the other. There are plenty of points on offer here. Last time out we were at Liddon Hill in Kent, where Derek Tohill proved to be the man to beat. It was a spectacular day of action. Ollie O'Donovan and Tohill going head-to-head in the final with Julian Godfrey in the mix as well, but Tohill hung on in there. It means that coming to Pembrey, Derek Tohill has a 2-point advantage in the championship from Julian Godfrey. Pat Duran third ahead of Steve Hill, and then the father and son Mannings, Mike and Liam.
Steve Hill, a very familiar face to the British Rallycross Championship, but you're driving a familiar car but not familiar to you. How did it come about that you'd be racing Ollie O'Donovan's Ford Focus today?
Well, we last minute problem in my car with actually broke on the dyno. The dyno broke, not the car. The car was fine, but we didn't get a map into the engine, so we didn't dare use it in anger without a proper map in it. So we turned up here to sort of rent a buggy from Ollie, and Ollie said, no, take the Focus. It's very, very different. For one thing, the steering wheel's on the wrong side, so that's sort of taken a bit to get used to. But I'm starting to position the car about right, and I know where I'm losing time. I lost a lot of time messing around, and I'm getting to grips with it slowly. It's a good car.
Roger, finally you're here with the Focus, freshly rebuilt, complete overhaul. You must be really happy to finally be on track with it.
Absolutely, yeah, it's been a few months, later than expected, but it's finally here, finished sort of 11th hour, brought you at midnight on Thursday, so yes, very happy.
Action in Q1, Julian Godfrey and Andy Grant on the line. We've had one or two non-starters, sadly, for this race, so Julian Godfrey now grabs the advantage, and all he has to do is concentrate on the time. It's not about beating Andy Grant per se, because really he's got a quicker car. Julian Godfrey, who started the season off in the Mitsubishi Mirage, he switched back to the Ford Fiesta, with which he has had great success, and so now let's see what he can do to set the target time, and can he, with nobody now really to battle against and therefore to delay him, can he be fastest in this first round of qualifying races? There is Andy Grant in the venerable Ford Focus, running in second as they go down to the hairpin. Now through paddock and up towards Hanson's across the loose section of circuit. Glorious weather, so it's dusty, and that's another problem for those sitting behind the leading car. All of that dust being kicked into your face. It also makes the tarmac slippery as you come back onto that grippier surface. It's not quite as grippy as you think because you've got this coating of dust. Godfrey hangs out the tail, he's heading for the timing line, he's going to win the race easily. Let's see what the time is. A 3:11.478, that's what has got to be beaten by the drivers on the grid here. Lights go to green, bad start by Simon Horton, but it's going to be Steve Hill in the Ollie O'Donovan Ford Focus that leads away, but he's off the road, whoops, the wrong side of the tyres, and so Derek Tohill grabs the advantage. On board with Steve Hill, across the tarmac, and now, having lost the impetus at the first turn, he's going to try to get himself onto the back of the race leader Derek Tohill. Through they swing on the tarmac, up through the gears, speed building all the time. Roger Thomas in the N Sport Ford. There, look, the Fiesta in third place as Tohill goes way, way wide. That's going to delay him, it's going to cost him time as well. It brings Steve Hill right back into the mix. Derek Tohill fighting for a touch of understeer there. He's keeping Hill at bay, but the question is now whether or not he's going to be fast enough to beat Julian Godfrey's time. Roger Thomas goes for the joker, on board with Hill, sitting in the dust storm. Again, Tohill understeers into the corner, touch of oversteer coming out as the back of the car wags. Through Senna's they go, and now up towards Taylor's and then to the Brooklands hairpin. Steve Hill hustling on, there he is, the nose dips. Remember, it's an all-new car to him. He's sitting on the wrong side of the race car for a change. Normally, he's on the right in the Mitsubishi. It's a generous offer by Ollie O'Donovan, who you'll notice is missing from the grid for Q1. More woes for Ollie O'Donovan. He's had to leave the circuit to go and find spare parts. Tohill now building the gap, extending the advantage over Steve Hill in second spot as they come across the loose then now. Out of Hanson's, onto the tarmac, at Ollie's, turn right. Derek Tohill fights for an apex, gets the power down, gets the grip down, and there, second, learning about the car all the time, is Steve Hill. This is Hill's view, flicks the car up through Taylor's, and now to the Brooklands hairpin. This new Pembrey Rallycross circuit introduced last year, a real hit, a real challenge, really fast, good mix of corners, very popular with the drivers, and Simon Horton making a welcome return to the British Championship after his poor start, fighting the Subaru. There's Roger Thomas, we've seen him joker already, so he's playing catch-up now against Steve Hill ahead of him. Tohill goes for the joker, Steve Hill goes for the joker, and Roger Thomas is going to buy back some time, but is he going to get ahead of Steve Hill for second place? Yes, he is! Through he goes, so Roger Thomas, first time out in this car, gains a place. He's going really nicely on, remember, home soil. Derek Tohill then, the Irishman, European champ, Irish champ, looking good, and he leads the British Championship right now. Is this going to be another title come the end of the season to add to his CV? Steve Hill, in the meantime, on the back of Roger Thomas. That's Simon Horton running in fourth. You see the way that understeer almost becomes oversteer there, heading out of Ollie's up towards Senna's. Derek Tohill then across the loose through Hansen, still fighting for traction. But Derek Tohill, he's going to win the race. Roger Thomas in second. There is Steve Hill for third. Derek Tohill's car doesn't look an easy car to drive, but it's certainly been a quick and an effective one. He leads in this first race for the Supercars at Pembrey. It's going to be a win in Q1 for Derek Tohill. Does he go as quick, though, as the time set by Julian Godfrey? The answer is going to be no, I fear. Yep, Julian Godfrey fractionally the faster. That is Simon Horton, who's going to come through for fourth place. It's been a lively race. Derek Tohill the victor, but Julian Godfrey tops the times at the end of an all-action Q1 here. So Julian Godfrey, it is quicker than Derek Tohill. Roger Thomas third at the end of Q1 from Steve Hill and Andy Grant. Simon Horton sixth, Ollie O'Donovan, a non-starter.
We nursed the car home, major problem with the rear of it. Didn't think it was there from lap one, so I really didn't think we were going to get the car home, but we got it home, which, yeah, it's lucky. So yeah, just figure out what's wrong with it. We don't have much time, double header, a lot of racing, so boys are going to be working hard.
Ollie, fastest in free practice this morning here at Pembrey, but you missed Q1. What happened?
Well, as I say, fastest in practice, and after coming in from practice with a clutch cylinder problem, but unfortunately it was inside the gearbox. We didn't have quite enough time to change it.
Ready for Q2?
Yeah, absolutely ready for Q2. We're actually ready now, almost finished. We missed it by about 10 minutes.
Q2, it's ready to get underway. Julian Godfrey is the man on pole position. Derek Tohill in the middle of the front row. Roger Thomas alongside. It's blast off. They launch themselves down towards the first corner. Whoops, O'Donovan gets all sideways. Thomas is sideways. Hill is off the road. Now, was that cold tyres or was there contact in the pack? Either way, it's not helped O'Donovan. It's certainly not helped Roger Thomas. And Steve Hill has lost chunks of time as well. This is O'Donovan. He's actually recovered pretty well. Tohill leads. Second is Godfrey. Blasting their way down the straight to the hairpin. Replay, look back from O'Donovan's car. Now, does he get it wrong or is there a tap? Hard to say. Steve Hill was very close to O'Donovan, very close to Thomas as well. There may have been a nudge. Across the loose, it is Derek Tohill leading the way. Julian Godfrey second. Now remember, not only was Godfrey quicker in Q1, he was quicker by some margin. He jokers on lap one. That's going to help Double OD, Ollie O'Donovan. He'll gain a place on the road. But we need to see where that's going to put him after he jokers. He's got a problem because he's all sideways and the car does not power across the loose at Hansen's. O'Donovan has stopped. More woe and something I think has come off in his hand. Ollie O'Donovan has got yet more problems. Quickest in free practice, it is not his day. And all this, remember, on the back of not even being able to race at Silverstone after mechanical woes first thing in the morning. It's looking really bleak for him in the championship. On board with Steve Hill. Ollie O'Donovan probably wishes he hadn't lent him this car. He could have cross-entered into it himself. However, Steve Hill's in the focus, and in the troubled Fiesta, Ollie O'Donovan is a spectator. And Trundle's back to the paddock, and it's a floppy gear stick by the look of it. So Ollie O'Donovan is going no further in this race. Is that him done for the day? We'll have to wait and see. Meantime, Hill versus Thomas. Steve Hill goes for the joker, and Roger Thomas, with his M Sport built, Ford goes up now into third spot on the road. Up front, it's still the battle between Derek Tohill and Julian Godfrey. On board with Steve Hill. That's Godfrey. So the 5 times British champion going after the Irish and the European champ. Here is Tohill riding the curve. Struggled with the setup of the car, the handling of the car in Q1. It looks a little better in Q2, but still Julian Godfrey's car looks the more stable. On board with Tohill now, across the loose, back to tarmac. Derek, vastly experienced driver. There is Julian Godfrey, likewise with a great CV in the British Rallycross Championship. We're on the last lap as Roger Thomas fends off Steve Hill, who is all sideways again, and the car in jeopardy of drifting out too wide here. Back on the power is Steve Hill, but you're wrong at one corner. You're still pendulum wrong through that next sequence, so the gap widens between him and Roger Thomas ahead. Thomas always goes well around here, but this is Derek Tohill. It's the Irishman, the Englishman and the Welshman in the top three at the moment. Sounds like the start of a joke, but it's no laughing matter for Derek Tohill, who's about to lose out as he jokers. Julian Godfrey goes through. So Julian Godfrey brought down the gap sufficiently to leap ahead on the joker lap, and it's going to be 2 from 2 in qualifying for Julian Godfrey. He won Q1, he's going to win Q2 as well. Over the timing line, Julian Godfrey takes honours in Q2. Second is Derek Tohill. And then for third place, it is going to be Roger Thomas just ahead of Steve Hill. The checkered flag wave, Julian Godfrey fastest in Q2, from Derek Tohill second, Roger Thomas third, and Steve Hill, the only other man with the time, he is fourth fastest.
Julian, fantastic start today. Fastest in Q1 by quite some margin, and fastest again in Q2. You must be really pleased with how it's going so far.
Yeah, no, it's going very well. Got a good start in the first heat. Derek beat me off the line in the second heat, but I took the joker on the first lap. Nearly collected Ollie coming out the joker because of the dust, and then Ollie had stopped in the middle of the track. And I did hit the back of him just as a glance, so I was real lucky there. But then I could then catch Derek, and he joked on the last lap, and I was quite comfortable to win it by only about a second, but it was a good result.
Simon, you missed the first couple of rounds of the season after a full rebuild of your Subaru. You haven't been out for a while. How's it going today?
This morning was entertaining. We've got quite a few new toys on the car, having to get used to driving it. It's been 18 months since I was behind the wheel in the British, so yeah, having to get used to being back on the grid and driving a supercar again, which is entertaining to say the least. But yeah, we've got a smile on my face, and yeah, it's great to be back.
How different is the car now to how it was when you last competed in the British Championship?
Massively, if I'm honest with you. We've gone rear radiator for this year, something we used to with the old black one for people that don't remember us back then. We've now got a sequential gearbox, we've got a new engine, much higher compression ratio than previous, so it drives totally different to previous, so I'm just getting used to it. Weight distribution's different, so it should be a more easy car. Once I know how to drive it, it should be more competitive.
We're ready for Q3. Julian Godfrey lines up on pole. Roger Thomas, Derek Tohill alongside him. It's blast off, and a great start by Tohill. Bad start by Thomas. Steve Hill dives up the inside and goes straight on. Steve Hill gets it all wrong at the first corner. That means O'Donovan leads. And Julian Godfrey, where's he going? Godfrey was way across the grass, facing the wrong way, turns the car around and rejoins. Mayhem at the very first corner. They've all got away with it, but wow, what a start. Replay on board with Steve Hill. Now look at this, up through the gears. Suddenly he takes to the grass, can't slow the car down. Everybody scatters in avoidance. Steve tries to work out where he is, and out of all of that, Ollie O'Donovan is now the race leader. Julian Godfrey is stone last. Roger Thomas to the inside of Andy Grant, goes third on the inside. It's O'Donovan versus Tohill. The track has been watered, so it's a bit slippery across the middle, and there, Roger Thomas goes a little bit wide. Andy Grant in the X-Wheel Dollop Andrew Jordan Focus goes for the joker, gets that out of the way. Still quite dusty. O'Donovan leads the way then. Now remember, he missed Q1, retired from Q2. He desperately needs a good result in this to get him up on the front of the grid, or near the front of the grid, as Tohill goes way, way wide and all sideways, and off he goes. Derek Tohill has a monster slide. Just about regrouped, but he's going to lose place after place. This is the race nobody wants to win. Mayhem at turn one. Julian Godfrey goes the wrong way. Then you've got Derek Tohill spinning himself off the road. He's going to fight back against Andy Grant, but this could well be the race that Derek Tohill has just chucked out of the window. To the outside of the focus he goes now. Ollie O'Donovan leads the way as he comes across the loose. That's Julian Godfrey understeering and oversteering on that slippery infield now. It's been watered, it makes it very treacherous indeed, as they're all sideways. Is Julian Godfrey ahead of Roger Thomas on the Joker. Thomas drops back behind him as Julian Godfrey then goes wide, coming through Ollie's up towards Senna's, but he stays ahead of Roger Thomas in the older shape Fiesta. The race prep expert, Julian Godfrey, hustling on. So now trying to storm clear of Roger Thomas. He was one of 3 drivers in the hunt for the championship last year. So was this man, Ollie O'Donovan. It went the way of Mark Higgins, who can't commit to a full season this year, sadly. O'Donovan then up front. There's Godfrey just clipping the curb, just bouncing wide, and now going for the Joker. So too, Ollie O'Donovan. Now, does this give Roger Thomas a chance to get second place back? It should do. Through the Joker lap goes Julian Godfrey, and yes, he does drop back behind Roger Thomas. So it's O'Donovan leading Thomas second, Godfrey third, Grant's fourth, and fifth is Derek Tohill, who will be absolutely furious with all that time wasted in that big, big spin. Godfrey onto the back of Thomas now. Can he prise open the door? Not through the Brooklands hairpin, he can't. And now they blast in a straight line down towards the hairpin. Hit the anchors, turn right. Across the loose, just riding the little rumble strip goes Ollie O'Donovan. And as long as Roger Thomas is defending from Julian Godfrey, it looks as though Double OD is on target for the win. There's loads of understeer on the slippery loose surface from Godfrey. He's crawling all over the back of Thomas though, and he's not given up yet. These 2-litre turbocharged supercars, absolute weapons. Fabulous acceleration, great action they provide. Ollie O'Donovan takes honours in Q3. Roger Thomas and Julian Godfrey behind him, but a drama-filled race. Steve Hill calls some of it at the first corner. Amazingly, nobody has got damage, and Steve Hill gets to the line. Ollie O'Donovan then makes up for a very tough day thus far with a victory in Q3 and a fair few hard luck stories up and down the order. So it's Ollie O'Donovan who wins in Q3 from Roger Thomas and Julian Godfrey third. Derek Tohill regroups to fourth ahead of Andy Grant. Steve Hill sixth ahead of Simon Hawke.
Ollie, yet more drama for you in Q2. Quite an interesting time for you between Q2 and Q3. You did, in fact, left the circuit.
I did, Hal, yeah. We broke, obviously we've had a gearbox problem all morning, and it's just come to light now a problem. I broke a sensor trying to force it through the gears, so the only place we were to get one was from Spencer Sport, which was, they told me a 2-hour drive, so I thought I'd steal Steve's helicopter and went done the whole journey back in 20 minutes with the bit, put it back in, and it cured the problem we were having, but we still have a gearbox issue now.
So you won the race in Q3, but still got gearbox problems?
Yeah, we've won the race in Q3, but the problem, we have the same problem, so we're actually changing the complete gearbox now.
Julian, pole position for the final, but Q3 wasn't all straightforward for you, was it?
No, got a good start. First in the first corner, just turned left into the first corner, then Steve come across the grass in front of me, and it totally foxed me, and I went turned right too early, ran the wrong way around the circuit, and realised straight away, and turned back out again, and back to about 6th or 7th place, and then made my way back up to third.
Steve, end of Q3, you've had quite an interesting learning day in the Focus so far.
Yeah, I'm getting my feet mixed up sometimes. It needs a lot more left foot braking than the Mitsubishi does, and I managed to get my left foot both on the brake and the throttle in the last heat at the start. It caused a bit of a kerfuffle, but we got away with it, no damage, so okay.
And how was the pace when you get your head around it?
I think when I put a clean lap together, we're not far off the pace, you know. Just making silly mistakes still. It's just a little bit alien, working on the wrong side of the car, but it's coming.
We always get great action within the Motorsport UK Supernational Rallycross Championship. There's plenty of that action here too. Tristan Ovenden dominated Q1 ahead of Craig Lomax, with Paige Bellaby third from the returning Dave Ellis fourth. In Q2, it was that man Ovenden once again, the V6 Clio, able to stretch its legs. Craig Lomax and Paul Coney chasing him home. We're ready then for Q3. Grid form, Tristan Ovenden is on pole position. Paul Coney missing from the front row of the grid as the lights go green. Ovenden launches away. This is an absolutely ideal circuit, especially in this direction for that V6 Clio. And Tristan Ovenden, with the first half of the lap being tarmac, just storms clear. Craig Lomax does the chasing. We've got relatively few Supernational spec cars here. They're largely the Super 1600s, so smaller engines. All of that plays further into the hands of Tristan Ovenden. Remember too that he won the first 2 rounds of the championship, both at Silverstone and Lyddon, so he's just been unstoppable this season. 303, Jarek Sukovicki goes down towards the hairpin as across the loose comes Tristan Ovenden, the reigning champion, and that immaculate, very well sorted, very well driven V6 Renault Clio blasts its way across the loose. Jarek Sukovicki, another of the Super 1600 brigade, chasing after Craig Lomax, who has shown really good pace here. Lomax across the loose, Sukovicki likewise, but up front, storming away, is Tristan Ovenden. There is Lomax for second. In the background, Dave Ellis in 4th place. But the Super 1600s, spectacular sounding little cars. They're stubby, they're aggressive, they give good racing. So far, Craig Lomax proving to be the master. And with multiple champion Paul Coney missing from the grid for this race, that makes Lomax's life even easier. However, having a very easy time up front is Tristan Ovenden. He just needs to make sure that he doesn't put a wheel wrong here. Craig Lomax across the loose. Front wheel drive, chases rear wheel drive. The V6 Clio has the advantage. It also makes a great noise, that Renault. There it is on full song. Out of Senna's, up towards Taylor's. In second spot, Craig Lomax chases on. Another former Super 1600 champion, so Craig Lomax knows what he's doing in these cars. The wheel lifts on the inside as he goes up through Taylor's towards the Brooklands hairpin. He's giving away a stable full of horses as far as the Clio is concerned, but the real task for Lomax here is to stay ahead, and he's doing so, of all the Super 1600 opposition. Tristan Ovenden dances his way across the loose. Dominated Silverstone, which is a very different sort of circuit, much shorter, much tighter, much more twisty. At Lyddon, the car could stretch its legs, and it's doing so again here at Pembrey. And especially in this direction, the first half of the lap being tarmac, that plays into the hands of the Renault because it can get the power down nice and early. It's got half a lap of tarmac, of quick motoring before it hits the loose, so it can build a gap early on. Tomorrow, going in the opposite direction, might be a different tale. Dave Ellis starting to close up onto the back now of Jarek Sukovicki for 3rd place. They're battling in Super 1600, but up front is the pucker Supernational Spec Clio V6, and Tristan Ovenden, the man behind the wheel, is on target for a race win, no doubt about it. He comes across the loose, accelerates now up towards the tarmac once again. There is Craig Lomax in 2nd place. He jokers. Lomax is on target to win Super 1600, but to win the race and to therefore be quickest in Q1, Q2 and Q3 is Tristan Ovenden, who gets back onto the tarmac and takes the checkered flag to win. What a day he is having. So he dominates qualifying. The final is still to come. There is the Craig Lomax driven Citroën to take 2nd spot, and again to win Super 1600. Jarek Sukovicki will be there through in 3rd place, the Polish driver. So Tristan Ovenden has done it again. There is just no stopping him. Paige Bellaby, a retirement. So Tristan Ovenden it is that wins from Craig Lomax, Jarek Sukovicki and Dave Ellis. We lost Paige Bellaby, and Paul Coney never even got to the grid. And so at the end of qualifying, Tristan Ovenden, Craig Lomax and Jarek Sukovicki, the top 3. It's going to be quite some final to see who can stop Tristan Ovenden. If you want action in British Rallycross, look no further than those in the Motorsport UK Junior Rallycross Championship. The Teenage Terrors have been lighting up Pembrey today, with Roberts Vitols, the Latvian driver, quickest across each qualifying run. So we're ready to go racing for the final. It is Roberts Vitols on pole, with Patrick O'Donovan and Luke Constantine with him at the front of the grid. 2nd row, James Constantine and Ben Sayer for company. Then Alfie Porter and Archie Thomas round out the grid. Light to go green, great start by Vitols, good start also by Luke Constantine from the outside of the front row. Patrick O'Donovan in the bright yellow car in the middle, hooks to the inside line. That's going to be the outside though for the next corner. Can he go all the way around the outside of Vitols? Not quite, but he has just about hung on to 2nd place. He leans though on Luke Constantine. Lots of smoke as the two cars rub, and now on board with O'Donovan. That's Vitol's ahead. Has he managed to secure second place? I think he has. Out of the Brooklands hairpin on the short straight down towards the loose section, and Roberts Vitol's then it is that leads the way. Started off in the UK last year at Lyden in a BTRDA event, a clubman's round. He's driving in Super 1600 in the Latvian Championship. Got a Peugeot for that, so he's adapting once more back to this Suzuki Swift. They come across the loose. O'Donovan runs second, son of Patrick O'Donovan in his first full season, debuted midway through last year, and O'Donovan has been a quick learner. He's closing that gap down to Vitol's. Now, Roberts does a lot of miles in a season, so too does Patrick O'Donovan, and there he's getting away, look, from Constantine's plural, because Luke is ahead of cousin James here. Through they turn pretty much as one. Luke Constantine hits the brakes, wheel lifts, and James Constantine is right there behind him. Wide, way up the curb goes Luke Constantine, the runner-up in the championship last year. To the hairpin, onto the loose, once again they come. Vitol's under attack, right there behind him is O'Donovan. Both of them just ever so slightly crossed up as they head towards Hanson's across this loose. It's been watered, so it's slippy. This is O'Donovan's view. Look at the amount of effort going in to try and stop the car from sliding out wide. Traction is limited, it's bumpy, you're always fighting the car on that section. That's why Rallycross is such a challenge, even at relatively low speeds like this. From the second row of the grid, there is James Constantine. Now remember that Luke Constantine has won both of the previous 2 rounds of the championship. So we're going to have a new winner, seemingly, unless it all kicks off up front. Through they turn, onto the tarmac. You've got 2 little batches, really, because the second group, there they are, look, have dropped quite a chunk of time, all running together. Ben Sayer is in the middle of all of that, having lost ground early on, surprisingly, and he is keeping Alfie Porter at bay, squabbling with Archie Thomas too. The leading quartet then across the loose. Ben Sayer on the attack, sideways. Archie Thomas ahead of him, and through they come then. 1 or 2 serving the joker, and that means that the order might just shuffle. I think that was Luke Constantine who's jokered and therefore has dropped back a place. O'Donovan still chases after the race leader. Ben Sayer tries to hook up the inside there of Archie Thomas. The Welsh driver hangs onto the place. His dad is having a good day in the supercars, and right now Archie Thomas, who also debuted last year, is keeping Ben Sayer behind him. In the white car, Ben Sayer, former karter, former motocrosser, 3rd in the championship last year, and now makes the run up the inside. But it's been a bit of a frustrating season for him, and today, again, the pace not quite what you might have anticipated. Across the loose comes Roberts Vitol's, and he's leading now by an increased margin. He's getting away, no question. Sayer still tucked up behind Archie Thomas, and now Archie goes for the joker, so Ben Sayer will gain a place. There also is James Constantine, he jokers. The man that was 4th in the championship last year serves the joker lap onto the tarmac, fights the understeer and hooks back in behind cousin Luke. Leaders turn through there. You've got the hard charging Alfie Porter in his debut season in Tom Constantine's championship winning car from last year. Now there, with a bit of damage on the front left corner, is Luke Constantine. He's closing up on Patrick O'Donovan, but the race leader, Roberts Vitol's, is storming away now, building up the advantage all the time. Vitol's looking good for the race win. Comes across the loose. There, look, is O'Donovan as he gets back from the joker lap. But Vitol's is clear, and it looks as though the race win is going to go his way. There's understeer as he comes now out of Ollie's towards Senna's. But a race win will go the way for the first time this year of Roberts Vitol's. Patrick O'Donovan takes second. It was close at the end. And third, Luke Constantine. But the Latvian driver has done it, and Roberts Vitol secures the win here at Pembrey. So a great drive put in by Roberts Vitol's, and he is victorious in our junior championship 3rd round. So Roberts Vitol's it is who takes the win from Patrick O'Donovan 2nd, Luke Constantine 3rd, James Constantine is 4th ahead of Ben Sayer and Alfie Porter, Archie Thomas next from Tom Ovenden. But Luke Constantine still leads the championship. He's 4 points ahead now of Patrick O'Donovan, but Roberts Vitol's is 3rd, and he's looking menacing.
Rob, it's a disappointing round 2 at Linden Hill where you were so close to winning and just lost out. You've dominated today. You must be really happy with your performance.
Yeah, perfect weekend so far. After Linden Hill, it was like really heartbreaking loss from P1, and this one win for my family, for team, and couldn't be happier for this weekend.
Patrick, third round of the season and a third consecutive runner-up position. You pushed pretty hard in that race. Close fight with Luke.
Yeah, it was a good race all around. I had a bit of ground to make up on Robert Vittles. I was defending from Luke for a few laps, but it was a good race. We're definitely going to push for the win tomorrow, but that's as best I could do today.
I got a good start and there was a bit of contact through the first few corners, but we made it through cleanly. But then Roberts Vittles and Patrick made a really good escape, and I was really struggling to keep up with them. I took her home third, so I'm happy with that. We're back tomorrow stronger, so.
It's time for the Motorsport UK Supernational Rallycross Championship final. 6 laps with Tristan Ovenden on pole position, Craig Lomax and Jarek Sukovicki on row 1 with him. Second row, Dave Ellis and Paige Bellaby, who's had a pretty torrid day thus far. And then you've got Paul Coney missing, sadly, from the back of the grid. And there's drama as the lights change. Paige Bellaby makes contact with Craig Lomax, then with Jarek Sukovicki, and damage to the Lotus Exige, and that puts Paige Bellaby out on the spot. Broken front left suspension, that was quite an impact. It was a great start, but the gap just wasn't Lotus width. Here's the replay. Look, Sukovicki slides off the line a little bit, so the gap closes. So Paige Bellaby into Lomax, then into Sukovicki, mayhem, and Tristan Ovenden is away and gone. Another replay, another angle, boom, way up onto 2 wheels goes Paige Bellaby, and that is the end of her day. Tristan Ovenden then now with the advantage, and you can see that he's got the Super 1600s behind him. Even though the track has been watered, when he's on the tarmac he's going to be able to stretch his legs, so it's looking good this for Ovenden to make it 3 from 3. He won earlier on in the year at Silverstone, he won again at Linden, and so up front is Tristan Ovenden as he comes now across the tarmac section, out of the hairpin, back onto the power, up through the gears here. Blasts his way through the chicane. Now there is Sukovicki, and he's got damage as well. You can see the left rear corner is slightly all crab-like after the contact from Paige Bellaby, but he's persevering. He's trying to do his best to get to the end. This is Craig Lomax's view. Comes across the loose section of the circuit, turns right. Again, all of them fighting with understeer. It's not only that you've got the dusty off-road section, it's also been watered. So it's now this combination of wet dust, wet shale to cope with. And so as the cars come back now towards the tarmac, Craig Lomax sprinting his way through in second place, having to constantly adapt to the changing conditions, because although you've got this tarmac section, there's dust being brought onto that, and then on the loose, it's dusty. There are certain parts that are quite wet, but that's drying out as well. So each lap it's getting a bit better. The grip levels are changing, and that's another of these major features, major challenges within Rallycross. 717 is Dave Ellis there, turning his way through. It's been good to have him on the grid this weekend. It's a Super 1600 class car, even though it's not really running to the full spec, but Dave Ellis having a good go. There, Craig Lomax comes across the loose. Sprints his way up towards the tarmac, so he's going to win Super 1600, but I've got to say that Tristan Ovenden is just looking unstoppable. Paige Bellaby after the contact out of the equation, and Tristan Ovenden, maybe it will be tougher tomorrow when we run in the opposite direction, but the configuration of the circuit in this direction with all of that tarmac for the first half of the lap plays right into the hands of this omnipotent Clio V6. Dave Ellis through, and there Ovenden out of the hairpin. Sukovicki, hanging on to the place, is doing a very good job despite the fact that he's got that damage. The car not easy to drive, it's hobbling his pace, and as you look at there, Craig Lomax, Jarek Sukovicki thinking about points. If the car's drivable, if he can get to the end, he'll get some points. Certainly not the quickest, but it's going to finish, fingers crossed, as for the last time Tristan Ovenden blasts down to the hairpin. This really now is just a masterclass in how to go rallycrossing around Pembrey in this Clio V6. However, points within Super 1600 heading for Craig Lomax. There is Ovenden across the loose, still that rather wet section, but he just goes slightly offline where it's a shade drier, and he's looking good here. He might even put a lap on Dave Ellis, on Jarek Sukowicki, forgive me, before the end. But Ovenden is on target for 3 from 3 in Supernational within the British Rallycross Championship. Tristan Ovenden up through the gears, back on the power, charges through centres, up towards the finish line, and it's a race win. It's another win in a final for Tristan Ovenden, who completes this 100% record this year within the Motorsport UK Supernational Rallycross Championship. Here at Pembrey, Tristan Ovenden dominates Supernational. He wins the final from Craig Lomax with Dave Ellis third, and the hobbled car of Jarek Sukowicki in fourth.
Tristan, it'll be easy to start with saying yet another victory, but you struggled a bit here last year, didn't you? You found it hard to find the pace initially, so a dominant day on a circuit where you haven't always had the ultimate pace must be really satisfying.
Yeah, it really is. I've been very nervous actually coming to this weekend because of last year, and did struggle. When it's damp round here, it is hard work in the car, and then we had an accident as well, so it didn't work out as well as I'd hoped. So I was hoping for a better weekend. Going today's clockwise direction, most of it's tarmac the first half of the lap anyway. Tomorrow it'll be the loose will be the first half, which always keeps us a bit closer. But yeah, hopefully we can repeat performance with any luck.
You fought hard. You weren't that far behind in the 1600 machine. You won the 1600 class, right, and finished second overall. You must be pretty happy with your day.
Yeah, fairly happy with the day. In Heat 2, we were really on the pace. We were on the back of Tristan. We were hoping for rain, but obviously we didn't get no rain. But never mind. What happened in final happened in final, and we've come out on top. And good points for the day, and just thanks for everybody for being here and helping.
Dave, you've taken a little bit of time out of driving in Rallycross. You came back at Lidenhill and obviously had a lot of fun, and back here at Pembrey today it's gone pretty well.
Well, it has, surprisingly well in fact. Yes, it wasn't a result I was expecting. I've just come really to have a bit of fun and enjoy the weather's been fantastic, and I've had a really good result.
What do you think of the circuit here at Pembrey?
I love it. It's the first time I've driven this circuit, and the improvements are brilliant. It really is a driver's track and quite technical in places, and really good fun.
So Tristan Ovenden is storming away in the championship, helped by Paige Bellaby having a pretty rotten day. Craig Lomax is third, he topped Super 1600 from Paul Coney, and then Dave Ellis. In the supercars, Julian Godfrey has been perhaps the man to beat here. He certainly was fastest in Q1. There was drama in the equivalent race, Derek Tohill fighting against Steve Hill. In Q2, Derek Tohill made a good start. There was drama behind, and Ollie O'Donovan has been in the wars mechanically all day long. He retired from Q2, having not started Q1. Then Derek Tohill had a huge spin during the course of the day, which cost him ground as well. Q3 began with a bang, Steve Hill off the road, Julian Godfrey going in the wrong direction. Ollie O'Donovan came through to win that. It means that at the end of qualifying, Julian Godfrey heads the classification with 2 fastest times. Roger Thomas has had a good, consistent day so far. He's second, and Derek Tohill is third.
Roger, a bit of an up and down day for you, but second on the grid for the final. You must be pretty happy with that as a first outing with a new car?
Absolutely, yeah, very happy. Yeah, it's been a bit up and down. I think in Q2 we got sort of collected and spun around a little bit, but yeah, it's been quite positive. A couple of good seconds. Yeah, very happy.
Derek, we're just moments away from you heading down to pre-grid for the final. It's been a bit of a topsy-turvy day for you, a bit of action and a spin in Q3. How have things been going from the driving seat?
Yeah, it's kind of a bit like a wet event out there at the minute because there's been a lot of watering at the track just before we go out, so kind of hoping for a dry final. It's going to be won on the first corner. Hopefully there's not major damage and everyone gets through to tomorrow, you know.
The supercars always give great action. Pressure is on. Who is going to win round 3? The grid is formed. It's Julian Godfrey that lines up on pole position. He has got Roger Thomas with him in the middle of the front row. Derek Tohill, the championship leader, is on the outside. Row 2, Steve Hill and Ollie O'Donovan. Then Andy Grant and Simon Horton at the back of the grid. Julian Godfrey's had a win this year, but in a different car. Derek Tohill has had a win this year. Are we going to have a third different winner? Let's find out as the lights will go green now. Good start by Godfrey, not a great start by Thomas. Bit of drama in the mid-pack. Steve Hill gets crowded towards the grass. Tohill runs wide. He's lost a chunk of time at the first corner. Derek Tohill deep into turn one. Andy Grant has also run wide, and so now as they come through the tarmac section for the first time, Julian Godfrey leads the way, and Derek Tohill has lost a big chunk of time right from the get-go. Here they come. You're on board with Derek Tohill accelerating now down that short straight towards the hairpin. He's closing onto the back of Ollie O'Donovan, and he's got to get past soon, otherwise Godfrey will escape up the road. Across the loose they come. This is absolutely perfect for the multiple champion Julian Godfrey. He leads, and while Tohill is sitting in the dust storm generated by Double OD, so the leader can get away. To the Joker lap goes Roger Thomas. And across the loose, O'Donovan still defends from Tohill, who's got to get on with this life, but he can't easily find a way past O'Donovan, and in fact on the tarmac the gap widens. Derek Tohill on the tail of O'Donovan. Is he going to be able to find a way by? Out of Brooklands hairpin, down the straight towards the loose. Brake hard. O'Donovan locks up, goes wide. Tohill dives to the inside. Can he get up alongside? No, there's an archer. Round goes O'Donovan. Contact between the two. O'Donovan is off the road. Derek Tohill goes through. He goes up into second place, but in rather robust fashion, you've got to say. Roger Thomas there through the dust. He's fourth and trying to play catch-up from a slowish start. Ollie O'Donovan will not be happy about that contact. Julian Godfrey cares, not because he is still leading clearly. It's a big gap that he's built up as there is O'Donovan. So Derek Tohill now, he's up into second spot. He can go after the race leader, but don't be surprised if the officials have a look at that post-race. Tohill came from a long way back, but Ollie O'Donovan, it is, they're now down in third place and trying to make up for that lost time. Julian Godfrey, though, looks like he could be on for win number 2 of the season here. That is Derek Tohill. Now you'll see how quick Tohill is. But even if he catches Julian Godfrey, who's just serving the Joker, is he going to be able to do anything at all about getting past him? It won't be easy, that's for sure. There's Roger Thomas. He's already done his Joker. There's Derek Tohill in second spot on this very fast tarmac section. On board with the Irishman now. Through Brooklands hairpin. That's Roger Thomas in fourth place, in fact. So he's dropped back behind O'Donovan. O'Donovan delayed after the contact, and is Derek Tohill closing on Julian Godfrey. The gap is still hovering around just under 5 seconds as Godfrey comes across the loose. Derek Tohill goes for the Joker lap this time. It's longer and it's slower, don't forget. That's Godfrey, storming clear up front. Andy Grant in the venerable Ford Focus. It's an elderly car, but still well driven. Garage owner sideways across the loose. Even though the track has been watered, it's drying out fast here. That's O'Donovan still storming along, but he's lost too much time now. Godfrey looking good for the win. That is Roger Thomas. Great to see him with the M Sport Ford Fiesta. And Steve Hill, in fairness, has acquitted himself very well to Ollie O'Donovan's Ford Focus during the day. It's a real contrast to see him in that rather than the Mitsubishi. Now, Godfrey Jokers. Can Tohill get close enough to make a bid as he tries to peer through the dust? He's off the road. Derek Tohill's got it all wrong. Unsighted, blinded by the dust. He's off the track. So Julian Godfrey's advantage stretches even more as he comes through over the timing line. Godfrey leads. A very disorientated Derek Tohill in second place. Now he's found which direction and where he's meant to be going. He's back on the power. There's O'Donovan third, but that's another reason why we have the track watered to keep the dust down. That's Andy Grant generating more dust as he comes through. So Tohill runs second on the road. O'Donovan is third, and Julian Godfrey is away and gone now. There he is. It looks like he's going to be win number 2 from 3 rounds of the Motorsport UK British Rallycross Championship, backed by Toyo tyres. Julian Godfrey won the opening round at Silverstone. It was Derek Tohill that won at Lyddon, and it looks like Godfrey is going to come through to win at Pembrey. Derek Tohill hard at work in second spot. The Irishman using, of course, his wealth of experience, but adapting to this configuration of Pembrey for the first time. Didn't race here last year. Godfrey for the final time down to the hairpin. There's Roger Thomas. decent pace all day, perhaps not quite as quick as some of the others, but he's kept out of trouble. Andy Grant goes through, and he's actually in danger of being lapped, can you believe, by the pace of Julian Godfrey. There is Julian. Through the dust he comes. Checkered flag is going to be made ready. Andy Grant, good to see him as ever on the grid. Great enthusiast for Rallycross, and the paddock's a poorer place without him. There is Julian Godfrey through. The checkered flag is at the ready, and Julian Godfrey wins for the second time this season. Honours go to the race preparation expert. Derek Tohill will come across the line second, and Ollie O'Donovan set to chase him across the line for third place. But that a very good start to the weekend here for Julian Godfrey. A win on the first day of this doubleheader. Post-race, a time penalty given to Derek Tohill to drop him back behind Ollie O'Donovan after that contact. So Tohill third, O'Donovan up to second, Julian Godfrey the winner.
Julian Godfrey, round 3 of the season, your second win of the year in a different car from the car in which you won the first round. You must be pretty satisfied with how things are going.
Yeah, no, it went very well today. I made a good start, kept the lead, and went the right way around the circuit on the first lap, which was big help. And I made a good gap on the first lap. So by the end of the tarmac straight, I braked for the hairpin and looked behind, and they were quite a way behind. So then I just sort of took it easy and kept it smooth, no mistakes, and just kept it real quick.
Climbed up to second position, lost it during the race, a difficult race, but got it back again in the final classification.
Yeah, we were lucky, Hal. We made a good start again from the second row of the grid, and got up to second, I think, immediately. I think outbraked himself and spun me off the track on the hairpin coming into the gravel on lap 2. So carried on. We finished our position in third, but I think the judges looked at it and they said, being fair about it, they gave me back second place, which we were happy with, fair.
Derek, you came here to Pembrey leading the British Rallycross Championship. It's been a pretty tough day, hasn't it? You had problems in Q1 and fighting in traffic through the rest of the qualifiers and a hard final.
Yeah, a really tough day. With the rear differential was trying to let go from the back of the car in the first heat. We never got the opportunity of getting an inside start. So again, final, we were on the outside and got a really good start, but then we made it up to second with a move on Ollie. I think the stewards have swapped the positions around. So I've gone from second to third, but for a really, really bad day at the office, third is probably not too bad.
So what does all that do to the championship? Julian Godfrey goes back into the championship lead, and Derek Tohill drops to second. Steve Hill's up to third ahead of Ollie O'Donovan and the absent Pat Duran. The next round is in 24 hours' time here at Pembrey.